Resolve eStar and V5 before we start talking about rounding up with the Gala. V5 back on the blue side, eStar on red, so nothing changes apart from the bans. We've got a Twist of Fate from V5 in the first phase. Ice is still open, Lyric.
I think for V5, that should be the easy go-ahead. We could see them go towards Renekton again, but I think the Kai'Sa makes much more sense, so I'm glad they do pick that one up. eStar this time are the ones to ban out the Olaf, which they've been picking up. Maybe Hacker just goes for that Udyr himself.
Udyr for Hacker has been played many times before. He and Weiwei have picked it up quite a lot as the win rate soaring once again. It dropped for a bit, but now we get the Udyr. I'm not going to talk about this unless it gets locked in. We've seen it in the LEC in the jungle position, but if Weiwei was to pull it out, we're gonna wait and see.
Yeah, you need to stop memeing hysterics. We're not going to see any Dr. Muna from Weiwei here today. He is going to stick on his carry-style junglers. Going to go for that. Ooh! We get the Seraphine for Ppgod. We got to remember, eStar actually did ban that in the first 2 games.
Yeah, it's a pick that combos really well with strong burst in the bottom lane. Has a sustain like you expect out of Sona. So for Ppgod, he's going to show us how loud he can sing in this 3rd game.
That's the thing, right? It's decent in lane if you are obviously against the melee support, but it is the kill threat that we mentioned last game is always there after level 3. But the thing about this is it just enables your team fight so well, especially if you can also put sustain in other roles, right? Whether it's something like the Aatrox in the top lane, they sadly don't have the likes of an Olaf or Pantheon in the jungle this time, but those things Seraphine combos really well with. She does very well with her extended range of her ultimate, being able to go for very long range engages. Also very good for running away and helping kite out from what the enemy has.
You've got a Galio global pressure here for eStar. I want to move forward because I want to see what eStar actually get in the bottom lane, right? You know, V5 have already put priority here with how volatile it can be within the laning phase. Excuse me. We've already got the Samira taken. Rat is a big Xayah player. That was banned in the first phase. Lyric, I feel like, you know, we get rid of Jhin or something, or Misfortune, something else that can add pressure.
I'll be honest, they need some sort of like big damage hyper carry type champion. The only 2 things that come to mind are Aphelios and Vayne, and yep. I don't think either one is particularly great against V5's first 3 picks.
Okay, Tristana was one of those other hyper carries. The Vayne and Aphelios is still open, but you're right, you know, the picks it's running into, always something you have to consider with the compositions, as you taught me. The Jhin locked in the end, it's not the hyper carry, we get the range damage to add
That's the thing, right? This is the best fit for their comp, in my opinion, against what V5 have picked. He's going to do fine in the laning phase, just going to clear waves with his QWE. There's some threat at level 6 once Kai'Sa can jump on him with the ult, but he's going to set up a lot of the plays coming out from Hacker and ZS, which Irma will follow up on. The problem is, right, very early game-centric composition.
Wait. Lyric. Seraphine's not bad.
We have Mole on Seraphine. I have seen him play this in solo queue. This has been something that's been picked in the mid lane. Its play pattern, in my opinion, a lot of people relate it to Sona, but I think its laning phase reminds me a lot of Nico, which is something that obviously Mole is very proficient on.
It has been played, you know, a bit throughout solo queue as well. The big question that I have for the build as we go into this is, like, if we get that supportive Moonstone build that I've still seen through the mid lane, or if Mole goes for something a little bit more aggressive, Lyric, I can talk to you about that as we get into game. We get the Gnar from Langx up against the Renekton. We expect to see the support here. I want you to walk me through how eStars operate, because I think there's a lot of complexities within their comp, and they've just kind of strived for the best measures to run into V5 since they lost all their hyper carries.
Well, I mean, for eStar, right, it's once again a pick composition. You have a global in mid lane, you have this long-range ultimate coming out from Jhin. Theoretically, the way I see engages opening up is you have pressure through what should be both top and bot. You're going to rotate your bot over for a skirmish, likely a Herald. Open up the curtain call. Udyr and Renekton are going to run the enemies down. Irma's going to follow up. And you're just going to kind of hope for this nice, massive burst combo coming out and V5 instantly being deleted.
Okay, run them down, pick composition. V5, the Seraphine mid. I know you want to talk about this. And tell me how this kind of fits in, because there's good scaling elements here as well. And with Encore, this comp kind of fights actually really decently.
I mean, again, this one is just a straight up 5v5 front-to-back teamfight comp. The one thing I'm interested to see is how this does in the laning phase. Since it is up against the Galio, I would think it's fine. You have the range advantage. Seraphine's range in lane is actually massively annoying. Again, a lot of her early trading patterns remind me a lot of Nico's, things like with the Tangle Barbs and then the burst from the Seraphine Q. So, yeah, I think early game should be fine for the side of V5. They should be able to hold out. Their bot lane shouldn't fall too far behind. Mid should be winning. Then the question is, can V5 survive that initial combo coming out from the engage from eStar? Because if they can survive the initial combo, the curtain call into whatever engage eStar throw their way, I think V5 win the extended fight.
Damage output's going to be huge as well when you look at Weiwei if he finds the lead, if a Trigger is in a good position as well, with Mole behind them, with Guardian too. This is going to be a pretty difficult game for eStars if it gets to that point. Let's wait for the engage. Let's watch and see. eStar and V5. It's looking good to me because we're going into a game 3 where eStar pulled off a beautiful game 1. Game 2 for V5 was a 27-minute win. And it all comes down to this. The win before we go into that Spring Festival, that Chinese New Year. It's going to be a pretty long break, so for both these teams, it is a momentum booster. As Mole is showing us his Guardian Seraphine mid. And you said it operates a lot like a Nico, but we have Guardian, which... Does that mean we're going to see Moonstone?
I said it's laning phase. It's
laning phase, excuse me.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, again, right? We know how it operates in team fights. Everyone's highlighted how it's like Sona. You have all the sustain that you provide. You have the long-range engage option with your ultimate. She's 99% going to go for that Moonstone or newer, so you're just going to be about supporting and enabling the team with your heals and CC setups.
Okay. Starts with the Dom Ring here in the mid lane. Has teleport as well to note. Predator for Irma, as we've seen her for a lot of Gallios. Apart from that, nothing too different across the board. And just taking a quick look, of course, Fleet Footwork here for Rat as well, instead of something like the Dark Harvest. More sustainability and survivability in lane, as junglers are starting on the bottom side, and it's Leash versus Leashless for Weiwei.
Yeah, so V5 not going to be giving over any information. And one thing I just want to highlight to going back to runes is the fact that Irma is going with the Predator rune. Typically, I don't like this in a lot of matchups because it feels like Gallo can get pulled out very on those first 3 waves. But up against the Seraphine, especially when she is going with Guardian, I don't think there's any threat on Irma to run a different rune. You don't even really need the utility in the team fights from Spellbook. It is just about being able to get on the likes of V5, as we highlighted, and get that initial combo off to burst out their carries. So I think it's a good choice this time for Irma.
Yeah, just run at them with Shielded Durand. We saw a bit of trading in the bottom lane. It's Ppgod here. Actually going to crash down, but the pulverized mid-air means he can't do that. And Trigger just has to back away as Rat and Shiauc once again backs in the lane with the wave building.
I mean, just right. Both bot lanes kind of handshaking back and forth. Sure, V5 get to level 2 first, so eStar have to back off. But with both junglers pathing towards the top side so far, we're going to be looking towards this top side scuttle. I definitely favor the skirmish coming out from eStar if a 3v3 happens, but with Zetas being so low, that might not be the case.
Won't be. Going to go out of Mega Gnar, so range back available. Means Zetas can't really walk up to this wave and hit Langx at the same time unless he gets that slice and dice. And waiting for the level 3 out of this Renekton as well. Sustain now much easily available. As you already talked about the levels. I also want to note that we do see Weiwei a little bit slower than Hacker, considering that no leash was given. So he's set up for the scuttle on the top side as he's currently taking his blue buff.
Well, and he's done something we've seen a lot of Graves and just champions do against Udyr now, which is just give up one camp when you are going to path towards the same side as him. If he had gotten a leash, he would actually have the tempo advantage. But instead, he's going to go straight for the crab, look for his own advantage. Udyr tried to be cheeky, but Hacker not going to find anything. And this is going to lead to a double scuttle for V5.
Langx hops over. It's a flash. It's a double flash. The bear there. Teleport in response. Boomerang doesn't slow. As ZS slice and dices away. Mole gets the double up as well. Drops a bit of a beat. And ZS dangerous himself. The flash end of the line. Auto attack necessary. Mole takes first blood on Seraphine. As the cute kill goes over the Winds of War. Guardian to save the life. A nice little shield of Durand. But Hacker walking back into the fray. That's a mistake as you go into Mega Gnar. A tutor snipe down. Hacker survives only just. Langx can't hit the marker, but it is still first blood and a kill going over to V5.
And I'm surprised how many resources we put into for that turn. Mole first coming with his TP. It didn't look like Weiwei was there. Weiwei does go in, gets him extremely low. He wasn't going to be able to finish Zetas off, but actually Mole kept going, was taking a bunch of turret damage. It became into a giant mess. And honestly, I don't feel like there's too much gained or lost on either side because They got the wave into turret. ZS was able to TP back. He didn't really lose anything. And it's just a bit of gold for the side of V5. And everyone is losing all their summoners.
Everyone, literally across the board. You can see bottom lane the only ones who actually have it. Any summoners to speak of. I'm looking, you don't count smite. We don't count smite, ladies and gentlemen. Small cooldown. We come back to a lane state that, ZS is able to push out for now. Has a bit of a CS lead after all said and done, even though he died. But Mole, who picked up first blood, was able to go back, get the tier, and start stacking up. So, going to have a lot of mana sustainability in that mid lane. And we're back to farming.
And he's going to be trying to fight for that prio. We already know how the play pattern's going to be, right? Irma's going to walk up, Winds of War, and uses passive on the wave. He's not going to take too much damage from Mole. Mole's going to try and win out those extended trades.
Weiwei might be caught out here. Irma's popped the Predator. Shield of Duran. Winds of War. Down Weiwei goes. Pathing down off the offensive. eStar's find a pick.
Yeah, Weiwei just not respecting the fact that ZS can move. Honestly, kind of caught me by surprise as well. Very nice by him. We saw that his wave was pushing into Langx. It's because when that, we'll say, dive came through, the wave did get slammed into turret, and he used his window nicely there, punished Weiwei for the aggression, looking for those Raptors, and this is why we highlighted the Predator from Irma. It's going to give him a lot higher ability to find these picks, especially when he doesn't need a rune like Aftershock or Unsealed Spellbook in this game.
And you have to remember the Predator's really not on that large of a cooldown. You can already see on the boots halfway through after we just saw the play 25, 30 seconds ago. So it can be abused, it can be continued. And Weiwei, after burning the flash previously in the engage, is still going to be down. I think Lyric at this point in the game, things are still quite even. eStar with a bit of a gold lead, however, after getting that kill and response, means that Hacker can have a bit more priority in the jungle on this Udyr.
Yeah, and the next thing we're going to be looking at, right, is this Dragon, which Hacker's just going to go for outright, punishing the resets coming out from V5 with the tempo that they have. I don't think V5 should be in any place to answer, so we're probably just going to see Weiwei cycle through his bot side camps, and then potentially look towards the top half of the map once again.
So first Dragon being a cloud. We'll see what comes up next. And camera. Well, it's Infernal anyway, as you can see on the top left. Irma stealing a quick chicken as he moves past. And as that first objective goes down, I also want to reiterate what comps you were talking about while we do have this lull moment. You mentioned how eStar, pick-based comp, they set up for their engage, and then after that it becomes quite difficult. We also know that, pick comps that have a lot of gold injection early, even on something that facilitates like the Galio, can be really, really nice, around these objectives, right? Especially when Irma, he already has that blasting one, and there's a lot of burst now with the blue buff.
Yeah, I like to use that word burst, right? Because to me, that's one of the big differences in these compositions, where eStars have a lot of burst, but they're very gated by their cooldowns and things like Jin's fourth shot. So they have a very strong one combo opening to these team fights where they need to be expected to burst out one or two key targets. For V5, you have an AD carry in bot lane, Graves in the jungle, Gnar can deal consistent DPS, Seraphine healing and buffing everyone up. They're going to do well in the extended skirmish. So overall, as we get longer into the game, V5 will be favored because eStar should be able to burst them out once we start getting more resistances, more items, more base health, etc., etc., etc. And even those heals from Mole are going to be quite annoying. The Guardian from Mole is going to be extremely annoying when we just highlighted that eStar's comp is all burst.
We already saw it in the top lane. I mean, it was 4-5 minutes in as we saw that top lane dive, and Mole's Guardian kept him alive in that engage as well. Weiwei just doing a buff transfer over to Mole. And, seeing Seraphine in the mid lane, you mentioned he's been playing a lot in solo queue. Did you say Mole was playing it in solo queue as well?
Yes, Mole has been one of the players playing it. And this guy, he plays everything. Might not play everything to the same degree. Like, again, I think his Zoe and Syndra stand out above anything else, but does try to play everything.
Good hop. Meanwhile, Dominus top lane. That was used very early on. ZS going to get the healing up with a Fury generation. Hacker now shown himself top. And Weiwei there just in case.
I mean, he was thinking he can get the engage off, right? He even popped his W as well, thinking he would be in range. So I can understand his thought process with why he did pop the Dominus. But like you said, it does reveal where Hacker was on the map. But hey, Weiwei going to reveal himself too, show up in the mid lane and help Mole just get a bit of a reset. But the last second, V5 are deciding, hey, let's go for this Herald.
With just the tier versus that blasting one, still going to be an advantage. We haven't seen a hero's entrance this game, but Irma still has it available. He has flash. Hacker not there for the time being. Weiwei pulls off, so that was kind of a weird moment.
The thing is, he has to pull off, right? Because if you looked at the minimap, we saw that Rat and Shiauc were in the brush with the control ward, so they had no information on where they were. They know they're not in lane right now. They could be recalling, they could be moving up. Weiwei doesn't have that information, so having to respect Fog of War. Back off from the Herald.
Giving Hacker the Rift Scuttler as well means he will be able to start the Herald, but actually just backs away instead. Still playing safe as teleports used mid, so Hacker going back to farming up with this Phoenix. And, you know, things have kept slow. And I guess I should be asking if things remain at this pace. V5 with the scaling we already talked about, with the 5-on-5 that favors them. Does this pace feel really good at the moment? Or is it just, let's wait for eStar to actually fight around these next couple of dragons?
I think this pace is fine, right? You don't need to fight this next dragon. I think especially waiting for Molt to get that Moonstone Renewer is when their comp is really going to come online. We know how cheap of an item that is, so hopefully he has it any time now. And that's when you'll slowly start being able to win more and more, you know, come with the following items.
Yeah, he's got Moonglass right now, but still waiting for that. V5 moving into River. They've all grouped up. Everyone's changed lanes. Look at where Irma is, has the teleport available, but even though they committed Trigger and Ppgod here, they're still not going to start their Herald, they're still not going to risk it. And V5 just like seeing each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a good maneuver by them because they're going to catch all waves without giving up the ability to respond to a Rift Herald play by V5, right? Because someone needed to go catch that massive wave in bot. It looks like 2.5 waves being built up. Irma has the teleport. Irma has the ultimate. He will be able to react to any aggression.
Wow. Flash Ferromancy, attracted Repel. That's the Wombo. They don't even need the 5th member as Ppgod gets knocked back into turret without a horse. Will tank it up for a little bit longer. Shiauc one more auto away. Mole can't get close enough, and the beat drop was on cooldown. And as they walk away, they pick up the kill. It's only Irma on the bottom side trying to get a trade.
I really like that engage coming out from Ppgod. Also, one cool thing to remember about Seraphine is her ult range does extend when it goes through an ally. So we saw Ppgod jump in, Seraphine throw out the ultimate, they find the pick, it's going to turn into this Rift Herald. They're losing out a bit on bot side, but they do have Langx up catching waves in top. But overall for eStar, I would say they probably still won in terms of EXP on the map, and they are going to get a second dragon out of this one. So the question is, how do V5 get something out of this gold advantage? And we want to see them have those item breakpoints we talked about earlier to be able to start taking these 5v5s.
They didn't find mid-turret plating at all. They will not find too much in the top side either. So eStar now 2 dragons away from the Mountain Soul, and we saw this again set up nicely by Ppgod.
Yeah, and actually, Mole not even needing the extent from allies with the ultimate. Ppgod doing such a good job at flipping members in. Weiwei able to follow up with the damage as well. Trigger goes over the wall too. And yeah, that was just all Ppgod. And we said he was one of the members we needed to keep our eye on in today's series. And at least early on, he's delivering in this game.
He is. It's good to see Ppgod driving force here at V5 if you haven't been watching them recently. Just note that Herald was picked up by Weiwei at the cost of the dragon, so it will depend on where this gets placed. Usually be towards the mid, but Mole already has a Moonstone Renewer. We'll see if the gold priority is there, or if Weiwei changes this up. Lyric, are you looking at top? Pings are going down, but...
I am looking at top, but pings are also going down on bot. There's pings are going down absolutely everywhere.
Communication.
It does look like Weiwei posturing around mid right now, like you talked about. Again, you all watch LPL every day. You know where the team's going to drop the Herald because it's always in this lane. The thing is, we're waiting out for some key backs to come out from V5.
Whoa, hang on. ZS is running out of fury. Should be able to heal this one up with one more Cold Meek.
He had flash, so he was never in any realistic danger. Could have left at any time. But I was going to highlight, we're actually waiting for some key backs from V5. Langx still sitting on a ton of gold, just has 2 Doran's blades in his inventory. Both Weiwei and Trigger needing to finish their mythic items as well. I'm assuming Weiwei's probably a couple hundred gold away from that, working towards that now. And Langx might get caught out.
Angry Bear Irma just comes in for the distance. He's going to prop Predator as smokescreen's in the making. Shield of Duran flashes instead. Doesn't even need to use it as the Night Harvester works out well. ZS is one tick away and Weiwei knows it. This Renekton running for his life has ended the line and flashed away from the re-engage from Shiauc. Back on in, the Magnet Storm hits 3 as it's an encore. No, you want more, but it's turned into a war. Shiauc has to exit and leave Irma for dead. And V5, suddenly Seraphine brings the cuteness in to win them the fight.
But it's not over yet, Hysterics. I don't expect too much to happen. Curtain call is open by Rat, but I'm actually surprised that V5 looked to answer that play. It took them so long to arrive, but we did see that eStar did have to overextend so far for the initial pick on Langx. It gave V5 the time to get in the brawl for members like Trigger and Ppgod to be able to join in, and V5 once again walk away with more kills. And just like Game 2, it is the same 2 members with the bounties who are stepping up in Weiwei and Mole. But we're going to jump right into the replay. We do see Langx getting caught out. He's going to get bursted down right away. Weiwei, though, almost able to deal the damage to ZS. I'm surprised he had red buff. ZS still didn't go down. We are going to see a nice cube coming out from Weiwei, but ZS preemptively flashing. Shiauc with a 2-man headbutt, pulverized with the pool coming in from the likes of Ppgod. And then Mole with that ultimate. Weiwei still there for all the burst damage. Trigger able to follow up as well with his ultimate. Irma gonna go down. And yeah, V5 capitalizing with the 2-for-1.
Be awesome imagine if in real life you could start team fights just by singing a note. That'd be awesome. I realized, Lyric, a really cool combo here. Magnet Storm into Encore lines them up. And super easy to see how this 5-on-5 that you were mentioning, that you so well telegraphed in our pick and ban for V5, lines up in wholesome. Yes.
So you said you wish singing a high note can start a team fight. What kind of team fights are you starting in real life?
In real life, a 5-on-5, get your fists out, I don't know. Maybe you get a larger man, he could be the tank. I'd be the support, because I'll be honest, my haymakers wouldn't do too much damage. Unless I got ripped like Set, but I think I'd kind of be like a Nico. I'd be in the back and I'd just be throwing stuff going, oh yeah, that would literally be me.
Okay, so you gave us your Bard impression. What's your Nico impression?
My Nico impression is, what did she say? That is Shoma. It is precious. How was that? That was good. I'm so sorry people had to listen. I get paid for this, by the way.
That was good. That was
great.
The greatest.
And hey, stick around. I'm going to be introing in Mandarin for IG and RNG, so maybe that's something else to be not highlighting here. Is that's a Pheroman's crash down. Hacker flashes away. Good timing, but Mole actually teleporting in 10 seconds before the dragon. Hacker without the summoner.
Yeah, we do see V5 actually keep going, but the TP comes in.
Now starting the engage. Hacker running at them as all good bears should. ZS going into Mega Gnar, ready to slam into the wall. Excuse me. He's the Renekton. It's Langx who's going into Mega Gnar. His encore extended through the allies. You talked about it. The Wombo though from Irma with a 1-man knockup. He comes in with Shield of the Duran. Hits 3, but the damage follow-up not there. Rat zoned out. Langx throwing houses. The dinosaurs are not extinct today. It's the cows. Say goodbye to beef. As Shiauc thinking about going back in. V5 want the range again. They force the flash out of Rat, and he's not the fast. The very slow indeed. Encore, no, excuse me, the beat being dropped. Rat again, a couple more autos, stride breaker. The range is there once more, burning down Turtle to save the day, and V5 are ready to end this series.
And this Seraphine mid is something so fun to watch. I'm glad you highlighted the ultimate. We saw all the sustain in that fight as well with the Moonstone Renewer. It was impossible for the likes of V5 to get bursted out, which is eStar's only win condition in these fights. They are going to be able to turn and take this Mountain Drake. Once again, 18 minutes, 5k gold lead. And this is the V5 of 2020, right? They run fast, they hit fast, they like to get these fast gold leads and try to stomp games early on. Not as potent this split when a lot of the league is upgraded, and I'd say you've been found out a little bit of combinations of the meta and other things, but here in this game, V5 are showing once again why, hey, you know, they might not be an EDG or a top esports, but they are a contender in the middle of the pack. Here in the replay, Langx does get the Mega Gnar. First of all, the ultimate from Moldo being extended as you highlighted. Langx then able to jump in as Irma was forced to try to come save his teammates. Shiauc already getting bursted down low. Langx following up. Why Trigger is able to just walk forward and take down the rest of the members. And you said, Hysterics, no more beef. The cows are going extinct. So V5 just able to continue to walk forward and finish off the rest of these kills.
Bears getting extinct as well. Phoenixes, as we know, Phoenixes don't exist anyway, but
Yeah.
especially after this game, you know, they're definitely wiped from memory. 403, Stuff Flowing Water. I don't know if people need to contact LS or talk to him about this one. I don't know if he has an interest in this, but right now it's showing up. The base damages are high, Mole's support is good, and V5 striving ahead with 4,000 gold. 19.5 minutes in. The Magi stack there as well just tells you how this game has dismantled for eStar and how V5 are taking over control.
That's great to see. Now they just have tempo advantage in pretty much every lane. Maybe the only member of their team that isn't super strong is the likes of Langx, but you know, I'm glad you highlighted the Staff of Flowing Water because it's not a build we really see in the LPL at all, but combos so well with that Moonstone Renewer and just Seraphine's kit in general, because when you heal or shield an ally, you actually grant yourself and them both movement speed and some ability power as well. So again, those items work off each other really well in tandem. Your team just going to benefit so much out of this. And for the side of eStar, you need to try to catch off a straggler somehow. But when you don't have the priority to try to pull the members of V5 around the map, the only thing you can do is overload one side of the map like they're doing now.
Trying to find something. There's the encore once again. It lines down 2. Wants to drop the beat. We get the beat drop in the end on the left side. Mole actually still surviving. It's a Seraphine who's tanky enough. There's everything with the engage. Ppgod on the wrong side, but Gnar into the wall. Langx is doing enough damage as it is. His trigger flies across the map. Weiwei the next target. A messy fight, and eStar actually coming out ahead, but this all depends on what happens with Langx. Now going to try and use a boomerang for the range advantage. Trigger following up the Justice Punch down. One hit away. ZS as well. And suddenly as eStar try to find more hope, they lose it all in an instant. Year of the Cow, Year of the Ox. Shiauc only just surviving to keep his legacy apart.
Now the question is, Asterix, can he survive the next one? Can he dodge the next one?
Here we go, the Matrix. Everyone's seen it. Can Neo do it? The bullets. Oh, yeah, okay. Trigger gets it. It's not an ace, but hey, everyone's dead.
Hey, overall though, I like the idea coming out from eStar because we were just going to hit on A. They need to overload one side of the map. As I'm trying to make that my point because it's too long-winded, I'm meandering too much. eStar already start going for that play. They overload one side of the map. They try to create like a forced tempo advantage, create a numbers advantage, burst someone out immediately. But the thing is, we saw, hey, you don't actually have any consistent DPS. As long as Trigger survives and someone who could be a meat shield for Trigger, V5 are always going to be able to win. Always.
They're 6 full, I can't actually count, 4,000 gold up. Kind of stuttering a bit because I was like, wow, we've got 2 items pretty much on everyone bar for Langx. We've got eStar who are just getting caught out. Even moving through mid, that's not your domain. The beat drops once again. Sparkles fly into the turret. And V5 now going to break the inhibitor. The Herald's going to do so much heavy lifting. If they find another pick, they can just end the series.
Yeah, I mean, they could just keep going too. They can try and allow the Herald to get another charge on the Nexus turrets if they want. I actually don't think they have too much benefit out of this. You're just wasting your time. All 5 members of eStar up. You don't necessarily care to look for a fight, but eStar do.
Deadly Flourish doesn't connect, though. Another beat to fly through the air. V5 now peeling off. Baron is available. There's another Dragon in 40 seconds, and this is good timing if they want to look for eStar to pick off or if they want to force them around this objective.
I would... Oh, Ppgod does go in.
Because ZS is too far forward. The Renekton's taking up. Langx on the wrong side of the map, but it might not matter as Mole's already used, the ultimate waiting to come through. There it is. Lines up 3. Irma into the party, but the damage of the Magnet Storm helps on the side of Ppgod. He sacrifices his life. Shiauc again. Not going to survive this time. On low HP for the last couple of fights. V5 won't let him. Now for the rest of them. 3 running back to the base. Rat set packing. He used the Gale Force before. He's tagged up. The beats keep dropping. ZS runs in for Gore Drinker, but it's going to get nerfed next patch anyway. Get used to it. As Hacker tries to delay the inevitable, the follow-up DPS. Langx takes him down eventually. Doesn't matter if it's death or not. It'll still be the series going over to V5.
And nice to see them bouncing back after what was a tragic game 1. Again, they just pretty much got completely shut out by eStar. But this game, they are stepping up as